vinegar because I came out here to set up my live stream about like 10 minutes ago and I got attacked by a bunch of bugs. Like, it's horrible. There's marks all over my legs right now and my arms. Oh, I was like wanting to sit, I don't know, I'm putting vinegar on. That's what I read. I Googled. I don't have any of my essentials oils here. I left them all at the lake. So, oh God. Because I just shaved and now I'm putting the vinegar on my legs and that stings really bad. I don't recommend it. Oh my God, that hurts. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Vinegar on your legs when you just shave, not a good natural remedy. Nope, definitely not. Oh my God, I'm putting it anyway because the amount of bug bites, you have no idea. Like, it looks, here, let me just show you the side of my leg right now. I don't know if you can see it. There's just like 10 bug bites on my leg next to each other. And just, yeah, oh my God, okay, ow, 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 because I just shaved that leg. Oh God, all right. Hopefully this will keep the mosquitoes away while we sit out here. I was not allowed to go to the beach today. Very, very upset about that. My parents are like, no, Lauren, you still can't go out. You can't contaminate us. I'm like, well, what if I'm at the beach by myself? You know, if I'm at the beach by myself with a mask. And then my father started screaming and was like, no, you can't do it. And I came back out here. I was about to start streaming with George. George dug a big hole. My dog dug this like gigantic hole and got dirt all over him. So he went in the house and there's just, I hope my mom isn't watching this because there's a huge pile of dirt in her kitchen right now. I have to wash him for sure. And it just messed up the whole stream. So I'm just gonna put lots of vinegar on me to try to, oh God, I shouldn't have shaved before I put the vinegar on because I don't have any bug spray. Okay, I'm gonna stop this now because this is kind of crazy. All right, I put the vinegar on. Hopefully it's okay. I was reading this book of natural remedies and that's what it said to do. Oh boy, God, Jesus. All right, the sun is gone. Of course, like as soon as I'm out here and ready with my folding chair, the sun is gone. And the backyard, I don't know what's going on with my parents' gardener, but they have to fire him because he's just not really doing the backyard. Someone said no soup for you. Oh God. Oh my God, and the fly is like by my vinegar. Why is he by my vinegar? Hi, Lauren. Feels like I can smell the vinegar for some reason. I know, I'm like, I'm not gonna be seeing anybody, so I'm just gonna put vinegar all over my body right now. Hopefully it keeps the bugs away and everyone else as well. I don't know. That's what I'm at right now. That's where we're at. All right, we have this book that I wanted to read today. It's an encyclopedia of natural healing, which I think is interesting. And not sure if this vinegar is working, but I keep looking down to make sure. Like, I don't know if you see my arm. They also, like, all of a sudden, it was so intense. I looked down and I had like 5 mosquitoes all on my arm, and I was like, ah! So I don't know. I might have to like run inside if they come back. I'm putting vinegar all over the place. Maybe if I put it on the ground too. Lisa's like, you cracked me up. Yeah, Lisa, this is, I called every single, I don't normally live here, guys. I moved to California. So a lot of my friends here, they've either gotten married or they're working. And I called every single one of my friends and I was like, let's go to the beach. We'll do the social distance thing. I even have friends who are in town from LA. No one wanted to go to the beach. Everyone was like, I'm working, Lauren. Somebody said, this is why I don't like summer. I know. Oh God, why did I just put more on my leg and it's stinging. Oh my God. Oh my God. Thank you guys for sharing this video. Ow, 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 ow. Guys, does anyone know if there's any other better natural kind of mosquito thing? This now stings really bad. Oh my God. I have to like, I have to get up. It hurts that bad. I don't know. Maybe we'll go inside. I just wanted to sit in the sun. I wanted to tan a little bit. Summer's almost over and I was like looking at my skin and I was like, I'm not very tan this summer. I don't know. Maybe it's for the best. After doing all those live streams with Dr. Frank, I was like, he said, don't go in the sun too much. It's bad for your skin. Thank you, Lisa. This is not my body. This is all Lebethra's. I'm not getting paid for this. They sent me these bikinis and they're Brazilian bikinis. And I swear to God, like the nicer the bikini is, the better you look. Like if it's cut for women, you know, it's a Brazilian bathing suit. So of course, like, you know, Brazilian women look amazing all the time, but They also wear clothes that's tailored and fit to their body. So that definitely helps. But yeah, we're here, have no fear. Somebody said, get the 3 wick repellent candles. Where do you get that from? Hola, Lauren. Oh, thank you guys. Maybe I need to move this. I think I need to move the camera because the Wi-Fi isn't really working over here. But this tree is so big that it's blocking all of our sun in this backyard. So that is the problem. I could go in the front yard. I could. I don't want to annoy my neighbors are pretty. I live in a very. I think they would get annoyed if I was in my bikini. Diesel works better than vinegar. Where do I get that? Like diesel oil? Just put it on my body. Does that work? All right. I'm moving everything over now. Oh, look at these trees, guys. This backyard is so overgrown. I don't get it. Where is the gardener when you need him? Just did not come. Oh, you guys want to fix your garden? Nope, not happening. Maybe we have to go inside and finish the live stream inside. I think my dog will like that. I definitely have to give him a bath now because he like tore a hole in the backyard. He totally messed up the backyard. More sun could be nice, and your original spot was fine. Yeah, but the Wi-Fi. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Oh God, now there's a bee around me. I can't deal with this, guys. This is too much. Boy. Anyway. Somebody said, I have to get some dinner. Nice. Oh my goodness. Eucalyptus oil. Actually, I just ordered some of that, so that'll be good. If that works. Eucalyptus oil works. Oh my God. There's flies literally on my tripod. Where are your mom and dad? They're at work. Guys, I'm just itching the bug bites right now. That's all I'm doing. Salute. There's bug bites everywhere. Can you give me a shout out? Shout out to the person who wants a shout out. Oh my goodness. Oh, citronella. That's good. I ordered citronella essential oil as well as eucalyptus oil. So hopefully, oh my God. I'm sorry guys, I'm just itching the bug bite that's now on my back. I don't know how it got on my back. Your Wi-Fi keeps cutting in and out. I don't know why. I'm like the router is like right upstairs. I don't get it. Get away, flies. Get away. Shoo. Shoo. Okay. All right, we're gonna read about natural healing. What kind of disease do you want to hear about? Hello from the UK. What's up? So, acne, acrodermatitis, acupuncture, arthritis, asthma, back pain, bad breath, bed sores. What's a bed sore? I would talk to you, but you never read my comments. Guys, negative feedback doesn't work. Do you know what feedbacks? Do you know what works? Positive feedback. You gotta be nice to me. You gotta be very nice to me. Choking emergency, chiropractic. Oh, cancer. Okay, let's read about cancer because that's what George is dealing with. My dog. Page 83. Okay, we're going to read. Oh my God, now there's flies in my coffee. That's great. Oh, I can't sit outside and enjoy the backyard. I have to figure this out. I have to either get a lawnmower myself and just mow this back lawn. Trim. I don't know. I don't want to. I feel so bad trimming. There's this most beautiful cedar tree above me. But it is way too long, and the tree is so thick that it's huge. It definitely needs to be cut back. All right, here we go, guys. Natural therapies for cancer fall into 2 categories. The first includes a host of special diets, foods, and herbs, which have been written about in many soft-back books sold mostly in health food stores. I confess that I don't know any more about them than what is written in these books. And there would be no practical purpose served by reviewing them here. Scientists feel more at home with the secondary category of therapies, those consisting of individual compounds such as alkaloids, from herbs to vitamins and foods. They feel even more at home when alkaloids and vitamins are synthesized. Here we find that while herb derivatives are in fact being used to fight a few forms of cancer, many barrels of the whole herb may be required to extract a single therapeutic dose. For that and other obvious reasons, such therapies do not fall within purpose of this book. As for vitamins, there has been a tremendous amount of work done with vitamin A, but only in laboratory animals, and for the most part only in preventing tumors or slowly very early growths. There is one major exception to finding, and that relatively simple and natural therapies for cancer in human beings do not have suggested medical or scientific evidence. The exception is vitamin C. All right, hey guys, welcome. Let me immediately point out that as we write these words, I do not know of any doctor in the United States who is using this treatment. And let me also admit that the statement that vitamin C can help cancer must strike many people as grossly exaggerated or even absurd. Am I really going to assert that vitamin C can help? That it can do anything at all to combat an already established cancer? Answering that question is terribly difficult, even now that we are a detailed report from Scotland where 2 doctors gave large doses of vitamin C to 50 consecutive advanced cancer patients. The general impression through Dr. Ewan Cameron, a consult surgeon at Dartmoorshire Hospital, and a non-resident, Jesus, somebody is mowing their lawn right now, fellow of the Lingus Pauling Institute of Science and Medicine, and Dr. Alan Campbell, a consult physician at Lancashire Hospitals, is that our clinical findings support the general contention that large doses of absorbic acid enhance natural resistance to cancer. Further, we have found this form of medication to have definite palliative, symptomatic relief value in the management of terminal, untreatable human cancer. Oh, okay, I'll definitely tell my mom you say hi. What's up, Chickle Rocking? Hola, ¿qué tal? I'm just itching the bug bites on my legs. The first question that needs to be answered is why vitamin C should even be tried in treating cancer. Did doctors get a research grant from the Secretary of State in Scotland on a wild guess that vitamin C might be helpful? Not exactly. In another article in the same Chemical Biological Interactions, an international science journalist, Dr. Cameron Lingus Pauling, PhD director of the Lingus Pauling Institute of Science and Medicine in Menlo Park, California, reviewed some of the highly suggested bits of evidence that vitamin C, or absorbic acids as scientists like to call it, may act in several ways to increase resistance to cancer. Chiefly, it is believed that vitamin C strengthens natural defense mechanisms that help protect us not only against cancer, but against all diseases. Good day. What's up, everybody? We're just sitting here reading about vitamin C and cancer, just because I wanted to read something in the backyard that you guys would be interested in. So here we go. Are you ready? Dr. Cameron and Pauling underline the importance of this natural resistance to cancer by mentioning a 1973 study published in Blunt, namely Cancer. That journal reported that all malignant cells were detected in the circulating blood of about half of all patients undergoing resection of colon and rectal cancers. This finding to have no significance at all in predicting which patients were going to be alive at the end of 5 years. That's important because some people still have the idea that to treat cancer, every last cell in the body which is cancerous must be destroyed. Obviously, this just isn't the case. Dr. Cameron and Pauling point out, if it were, every last one of those patients in whom malignant cells are found in the circulating blood would have been dead from the cancer at the end of 5 years. Somehow, their bodies must have been able to cope with those malignant cells in such a manner as to prevent them from establishing new malignancies. So this is very interesting. So you can have cancer as long as your body can cope with those cancer cells. It can be strong enough. So you have to stay strong during any therapy. That's what's interesting. So yes, vitamins definitely help. I know some people say that certain oils kind of also help, but right now I'm just reading about vitamin C. Oh, peppercorn, someone said, stops bugs. That's definitely interesting. The rationale behind trying vitamin C. How does vitamin C fit into the picture of increasingly these natural defense mechanisms? First, say the authors, the ability of the organism to encapsulate the spreading cancer in a relatively impermeable barrier of dense fibrous tissue. I want to have some vitamin C right now. This is like a commercial for vitamin C, this book. May depend on the dietary availability of organoxalic acid because this nutrient is necessary to build fibrous tissue. Vitamin C is also needed to give lymphocytes enough relativity to effectively attack invading foreign bodies in the system, and cancer foreign bodies lymphocytes attack. Another area of possible importance for vitamin C is in the functioning of the adrenal and pituitary glands, which normally have a very high concentration of absorbic acid. Under stress, however, the vitamin C is quickly depleted, and cancer certainly stresses the system to its very limit. All the vitamin C they need to produce their hormones, the body may be better able to cope with such stresses. Dr. Cameron and Pauling suggest. Moving from theory to laboratory experiences, the authors point out that when laboratory animals are challenged with a powerful cancer-causing chemical, methylchlorine, this triggers a sudden upswing in their natural synthesis of absorbic acid. In rats that develop tumors, and production of vitamin may be caused by viruses. And if this is true, vitamin C may have an important role here, because several studies have shown here. Oh boy. Okay. Making the patient vulnerable to secondary bacterial infection which weakens him. You know, it's crazy. A lot of my friends right now are dealing with cancer. I just lost a friend last week to cancer. And I feel like a lot of people are getting cancer, a lot of my family friends. So I'm just trying to learn as much as I can about it, because it's just it's a very, very scary thing. You are cutting in and out way too much. So should I go inside? If I'm cutting in and out, I tried to get closer to my router, but let me know if we're cutting out too much. No, Larry, I can't go out anywhere. I am locked up in my house with my parents right now. I am not seeing or going anywhere. Okay. You're not at cabin anymore. I know, I miss my little cabin. Even though it was small, at least today I would be jumping in the lake at this time. Mark, what do you know about cancer and fighting cancer? Let me know. What kind of cancer? Did you have cancer? Casey, I didn't know that. I'm so sorry. Yeah, it's awful. It's just an awful disease, and sometimes I wish I was a doctor so I could fight it or do research. I mean, I do have a bio degree. Maybe I could be a researcher. Oh my goodness, Mark, what kind of cancer? That's horrible. 50 patients, all beyond therapy. That brings us to the series of patients treated by Dr. Cameron and Campbell. Although only 50 patients are included in their joint report, the doctor patients, but excluded them from the study for various reasons. For example, because J. Youth Skeleton Tulane University has reported that extra vitamin C can prevent bladder cancer in animals and is possible preventative measure in regarding to bladder cancer in man. All patients with bladder cancer were given vitamin C. Oh, wow, Brian. See, cancer, yet I don't know why they haven't found a cure, and it's very frustrating. I know I have a lot of friends who beat cancer, thank God. One of my friends, she's like my age, and she beat cancer. But then I know this guy who I used to shoot videos with, his wife gorgeous. She recently passed away of cancer, and she just had a baby. It's just like the saddest thing. She was like so beautiful and young and just scary. It just is really a scary thing. Oh my goodness, Chris, yes, it's very scary. Very, very scary. However, they were given standard methods of cancer treatment, so they were not included in the current study. Okay, so they only included people in the current study that just used vitamin C as therapy. In some cases, patients who were originally diagnosed with being untreatable were given vitamin C, improved so much on vitamin regimen that it became ethically imperative to immediately give them established forms of cancer treatment as well. All these patients were therefore excluded from the study. That left only patients who were considered by Dr. Cameron and Campbell, as well as at least one of another independent clinician, as not having any chance at all of benefiting from any form of therapy. In most cases, they were considered terminal, at best. They suffered from advanced cancer and were beyond the hope of any known therapy. Most of the patients were receiving 10 grams of absorbic acid daily, divided into 4 doses. Some received more. In the beginning, the vitamin C was administered by injection, but eventually the doctors decided that it was no better than giving it orally. Vitamin C isn't harmless to a cancer patient. One of the first surprises in this study was not a pleasant one. Long experience with vitamin C has led to the general impression that it is amazingly harmless even given in large amounts. In cancer patients, it turned out, this is not always true. Some patients proved not to be able to tolerate high doses of vitamin C in their stomach, particularly those who disease involved an upper ailment tract. Some of these patients suffered from heartburn, nausea, and acid regurgitation. How was the party yesterday? Oh, I loved watching it. I sat in my backyard and listened to the music. It was really good music. It sounded really great. The people over there, it must have been either a wedding or maybe a bar mitzvah or a birthday party. It sounded fun. Sounded fun. I want to go to a party, but my parents are just like, I wanted to go to the beach today, and they were like, no, you are a teacher. Maybe I should go back to school and become a teacher. I have a bio degree, but I don't know, like, can you get a master's right away? I think like the credits expire after a certain amount of time. On the other hand, others fear, having been expressed, that more than 4 grams of absorbic acid are taken daily, there is an increased risk of developing oxalated kidney stones. Not one patient out of 50 developed any problems along these lines. The biggest surprise, though, was that in 4 patients, the large doses of vitamin C produced a catastrophic deterioration in the matter of days. In all cases, it seemed that vitamin C had actually caused the tumor to hemorrhage and become neurotic, dead. Although the bleeding produced by this procedure proved fatal because the tumors were so large. Dr. Cameron and Campbell point out that this reaction is, in fact, a manifestation of the very strong defense reaction, and would certainly be regarded as a very favorable response indeed to patients suffering from earlier and more localized lesions. So guys, I would definitely, I'm gonna go take some vitamin C right now. I'm just gonna go take it. It's very interesting. People would have to develop their lives to study cancer, to develop treatments and maybe a cure. I know, Rat Pally. I feel like a lot of people, this is an old book about natural healing that I saw at the charity shop. I always buy these preventative natural healing books because I really do feel like there are a lot of things that we can do ourselves to help us. And going to the doctor is great, but knowledge is power. Like in treating my dog's cancer, I learned a lot because, my oncologist was amazing, but I brought up a bunch of things that I was doing to assist with his chemotherapy that I just researched and found from different groups on Facebook that actually really help. There's a supplement that he's on. It's not a supplement, it's actually a medication for your liver that she didn't recommend, but I was in this Facebook group and I had the liver medication already because he was on so many different medications for his heart that I was being super preventative. I did so much research for my poor animal that that I kind of, I just looked around and I asked so many questions. And when I talked to the oncologist, she was like, oh yeah, you can take that. So you never know, like they're not gonna suggest everything right away. And a lot of times they just recommend like the first bucket things there, but there are so many things that if you know, knowledge is power. So I just try to have as much power in a situation like this than you can. Thank you so much, guys. The outcome of 4 patients out of 50. In 17 other patients, nothing much happened of anything. That could be an attribute to vitamin C. Actually, it's not exactly true, because the majority of patients in this study felt better after being on vitamin C and suffered much less pain. But right now, we're just talking about the progress of the disease itself and not the subjective symptoms. For this purpose, then, the 17 patients had no response. 10 patients had what Dr. Cameron and Campbell call a minimal response. Some patients in this group seemed to take a slight turn for the better before going downhill. As expected in other cases, the improvement was much more dramatic, but was eventually followed by a surprisingly swift state of deterioration. So that's kind of depressing. In 11 patients, the development of the tumor or tumors seemed to be slowed down. Case number 29. A 67-year-old man was typical, suffering an inoperable cancer of the gallbladder and liver. He was expected to live not more than a few weeks. A week after beginning the vitamin C regimen, his appetite returned, he gained weight, and his obstructed jaundice problem evolved. He died at home 209 days after starting on the vitamin C. Oh, wow. So, I mean, it's shown to prolong life. I feel like, so cancer just starts attacking the organs around the area that it's infected. So if you can kind of supplement that, you can extend your life. So he was given 2 weeks, but he lived almost a year. So that's pretty good. I am reading for you guys because I feel like everyone should take care of themselves right now, especially with, I've had so many friends that are suffering cancer or their family members. So I wanted to read this so that you're all aware. 8 most interesting cases. In 3 patients, the mega doses of vitamin C brought cancer to a standstill. In 3 cases, so 3 cases out of 19. That's pretty good. A 56-year-old woman with an endocarcinoma of the colon underwent surgery, but her condition had already spread to her liver. Curiously, perhaps significantly, when she began taking vitamin C, she experienced discomfort in the region of the liver, but was encouraged to keep taking it. And the side effects eventually went away after about 2 months. Now, 2 physicians reported, some 18 months later, she remains clinically well with no evidence to suggest potential progressing malignance. That's great. 2 other patients responded similarly. Although they were hardly cured, they simply stopped getting worse. In 5 patients, there was actual regression. Oh my God, that's amazing. So 5 patients got their cancer started going away, or shrinking size of the tumor. But this doesn't always mean that the patient has recovered. That's sad. A 55-year-old man with cancer of the kidney that had spread to his right shoulder and left hip was put on absorbic acid undergoing surgery. At the time, he was not in severe pain, but was unable to work. He began taking 10 grams a day of vitamin C on April 10, 1972. There was a steady symptomatic improvement with pain relief, and he was able to return to his job. Even more encouraging, X-rays showed that his bones seemed to be fighting off the cancer and were becoming recalcified, where they had been eaten away with cancer growth. After 1 year, however, his condition took a turn for the worse. At this time, his vitamin C dose was doubled to 20 grams a day, and he again improved for a number of months. Following this improvement, however, the disease once again flared up and he died January 25th, 656 days after beginning the absorbic acid treatment. That's really sad. What's that? Skin cancer survivor. I'm enjoying the weather, guys. Just sitting here. 2 other patients also died eventually, but not because of their cancer. In both cases, autopsies showed that they had apparently been significant regression of cancer growths. Another patient had an extremely dramatic response to treatment. In a matter of weeks, his enlarged liver and spleen returned to normal sizes, and there were other signs of significant regression found in x-rays and biopsies. Eventually, his dose of absorbic acid was reduced and finally eliminated. Unfortunately, a few weeks later, the malignancy began to return, and he was again put on absorbic acid therapy, which at the time of their report, the doctors say seemed to be inducing a second regression. Another man, 69, was operated on in 1969 for cancer on the colon. In 1972, he was readmitted into the hospital, deteriorating with numerous signs that the cancer had returned in his liver. 6 months after beginning an absorbic acid therapy, all his liver function tests returned to normal. More than 2.5 years later, he continues with the absorbic acid and remains fit and active, and in all well respects, with no clinical or biochemical indication of neoplastic disease. What does it mean to be done? The big question at this point is whether or not the survival time of this group of patients were significantly lowered than when they would have been without taking the vitamin C. The only way to pin down such an effect would have been for the doctors to have not treated another group of 50 patients whose conditions closely matched of those treated patients. This wasn't done, and if it had been done, the doctors say, they would have broken the control because as their clinical experience increased, we felt it to be ethically wrong to withhold absorbic acid in otherwise hopeless situations, merely for the sake of obtaining observations of dubious significance for statistical comparison. However, they declare it is our opinion that most clinicians familiar with the practical realities of terminal cancer would be inclined to agree that many of these patients survived much longer than a reasonable clinical expression. Hey Lauren, how is your day going? Good, we're just reading right now. Oh, look up a documentary. Okay, I'm gonna just screenshot that so I can remember it later. Okay. Very interesting. All right. Beyond the question of survival time, Dr. Cameron and Campbell reported that in a number of patients they treated, giving absorbic acid produced quite a dramatic relief from pain and opiate dependence in a matter of days. There were other beliefs as well, one of which that all patients who had a malignant disease of the urinary tract experienced a significant reduction in the amount of blood in their urine, and a reduction in pain and distress as well. In at least 6 cases, the doctors say, there is an indisputed clinical and biochemical evidence to show that reversal of terminal malignant jaundice was induced for significant periods of time. The doctors who made this report considered it to be a pilot study designed to see if there was any reason for conducting a more extensive and more careful controlled test of vitamin C in cancer patients. The answer to this question, they believe, is definitely affirmative. It is not nothing more than relief in pain. It would be a great value, but there is good evidence to indicate that vitamin C may do more than this. Dr. Cameron and Campbell say that they expect it to have even greater value than used in the treatment of earlier and more believed favorable patients. So basically, guys, if you start taking vitamin C earlier, I guess it's proved that there's less chance of cancer. Looking ahead, they declared that we believe that in this time, absorbic acid supplementation will come to be accepted as a standard measure in most, if not all, forms of cancer treatment. We concluded that large-scale clinical trials along such lines are now clearly indicated. Diet and malignant melanoma. There's one more dietary approach to cancer that is worth mentioning, and that is a restricted diet designed to combat the progression of malignant melanoma in the eye. A brief report on this diet describes the case of a 53-year-old chemistry teacher in Britain who had a malignant melanoma of the left eye. In this case, he felt that surgery would result in the loss of sight because of the position of the tumor, which was also in a bad position for radiation therapy. He was told about an experimental diet which had been tried in Denmark, consisting of a diet very low in 2 natural food chemicals. All right, so what's phenylalanine and taurosin? According to S.L. Stevens of a General Hospital in Cambridge, the basis of this treatment is that thyrosin, which can be formed from phenylalanine, is the basic amino acid in melanin production and a substitute for thyrosin, the basic enzyme in melanin synthesis, and essential for the respiration of the melanoma cell. These cells contain large quantities of thyrosin, and when it is deprived of its substrate tyrosine, the growth of the melanoma is inhibited. The diet was quite severe, initially consisting of only 10 grams of protein, including just 250 milligrams of I have to look up how you say this word, and a low tyrosine content. Eventually, additional amino acids were added to the diet to prevent a protein deficiency. Some problems arose with this diet, and it became necessary to use a low tyrosine commercial supplement. The diet succeeded in drastically reducing the serum levels of both of these chemicals, and the concluding sentence of the report is, "Meanwhile, the patient has remained well, and the eye consult reports that malignant melanoma has regressed." It should be obvious from the nature of this diet that it must be supervised jointly by a physician and dietitian. If you wish to discuss this diet with a medical professional, you may refer to the Stevens report. Oh, so that's interesting. So I think it's important to also, I think getting somebody who can be a dietitian for you if you have cancer. Definitely. Let's see. This is from Prevention Magazine. My grandmother always used to read Prevention. So what else do you guys want to talk about? Good tips. What should we talk about? Oxygen therapy. Pet therapy. What's pet therapy? 409. Is this for my dog? How are you? I'm good. Let's see. Just hanging out. Oh, they're talking about osteopaths here. Osteopathy. That's what my grandfather was. We're going to read about osteopathy now. Okay. It happened in Kansas. One day in the 1870s, Dr. A.T. Still was kind of a tramp doctor who had attended a short course at the Kansas College of Physicians and Surgeons, claimed to have set 17 dislocated hips in 24 hours. He found so many dislocations, let alone set them, is questions left to wake up this medical Midwesterner. Later, he started an osteopathic medical school at Kirk, Missouri, which by 1905 had 500 students. Almost overnight, Kirksville became a heaven for the sick and incurable. So my grandfather was an osteopathic physician, and he actually, probably got his degree in the 30s, and at that time it was the beginning of osteopathic physicians. So he was on the board. I think at one time he was the president, and he got osteopathic doctors regulated in California and a bunch of different states that they weren't allowing doctors to practice as osteopaths. So this is really exciting that it's in the book, because I haven't talked about this before, but when I wanted to go to medical school, it was like they wanted me to be an osteopath, because my grandfather and like my whole mom's side were osteopaths. But let's learn a little bit about that. Somebody said, "When are you coming back to California?" I don't know, guys. I'm supposed to come back on September 8th. I might come back. We'll see. I haven't decided yet. I keep changing my ticket. I have this amazing ticket from Delta that I can just keep changing, so I just keep extending my trip in New York City. We'll see. We'll see. Looking at that background, are you back in New York? Why, does this not look like New Jersey? I feel like the woods back here kind of look like New Jersey. Guys, don't be gross. Don't be disgusting. All right. During its century of existence, osteopathy has not escaped its share of growing pains. Some of these pains can be attributed to the founder himself. He traveled to Missouri and Kansas, working the middle streets, adjusting joints and palpating spines. The inherent doctor claimed to have cured every patient he treated, including those with ammonia, asthma, and, how do I say this? Encephalitis. I don't even know what that is. Unquestionably, Dr. Still's methods of experimenting with treating patients in the great outdoors were crude. But generally speaking, medical practice was very crude indeed in the 19th century. This was the age of heroic medicine: bloodletting, blistering, leeching, cupping, sweating, and purging. There was little scientific support underlying medical practices of any kind. Naturally, Dr. Still claims of 100% medical success earned him a reputation as a quack. His students left Kirksville without degrees to start their own osteopathic clinics, gave further credence to this charge. Interestingly, Daniel Palmer, a patient of Dr. Still's, left the clinic and started a rival practice of manipulation called chiropractic. So this is really interesting. Very, very interesting stuff. During the first 3 decades of the 20th century, osteopathy failed to keep abreast of scientific developments, failed to standardize licensing regulations, and failed to fully integrate manipulative therapies with the total philosophy of medicine. It was considered by most to be a second-class medical profession. Even now, a lot of times when I talk about DOs, people don't really understand it nor believe it. And I think the only way to truly appreciate it is to get treated by a DO. Now it's kind of changed in the way that a lot of DOs don't actually manipulate. So when they would manipulate, like let's say you have bronchitis, instead of just giving you medication right away, they would just massage different parts of your body and clear up the fluid in your lungs by that manipulation. Today all has changed. In the last few decades, osteopathy has evolved into a greater respectable medical profession, with its members having the right to practice in all states. Sorry, there was a fly on me. Osteopathic physicians, DOs, have entered into mainstream of the healing arts. They attend medical schools comparable to those attended by MDs, go through similar internship periods, and take equivalent medical exams. Both may enter any number of medical specialties after internships. According to Richard K. Snyder, DO Director of Medical Education at Allentown, which is cool. I used to watch your live streams in 2017. What happened? I'm still doing them. I don't know. Maybe you just stopped watching them. Sometimes people don't get notifications, you know? Okay. A fundamental difference between the MD and the DO is that in practice of manipulation therapy, one of the most misunderstood Dean Robert W. England, DO, who oversees the medical curriculum at Philadelphia, at those who believe that all we do is crack bones. Osteopathic training is heavy on the basic sciences, he stresses. Our emphasis, he remarked, is in anatomy, physiology, and neurosensorial science courses. Damn, maybe if I move the camera. Ugh. Oh boy. Oh my goodness. I'm tangled in a thing. Jeez. Don't you go anywhere. All right, guys, are you there still? All right, moving the camera closer to the house. Closer. Oh boy. Okay, hopefully this will be better. Oh no, I just got coffee all over my teeth. Okay, as we set up my live streaming station in the backyard. I really wanted to go to the beach today, guys. I called so many friends, no one would go with me. It's very sad. If you guys see me, comment on Twitch if you see me. Okay. Lauren in the jungle. I know it feels like a jungle back. Okay. But osteopathic medical students also spend more than 150 hours in classes and clinics learning the unique principles and practices of osteopathy. In Dr. England's words, the student learns the body like the back of his hand. He learns to diagnose a patient's problem or complaint by feeling, palpating certain problem areas, various called soft skin osteopathic lesions or somatic dysfunction. After careful diagnosis, which probably would include, there's a bug on my book, problems, the lymphatic or thoracic pump for upper respiratory complaints, or cervic tract for neck pains. And nothing has caused such misunderstanding and confusion among lay people alike as these manipulations. Oh, happy birthday, the Everton 100. Happy birthday. The key phrase in grasping the principles of osteopathic manipulation is neuromuscular skeleton system. This refers to dynamic interplays between nerves, the muscles, and their surroundings, fibrous tissues, or fascia in the bones. Although osteopaths appreciate as well as any MD that there is more to the human system than this particular complex, they nevertheless find that a vast number of ailments and are best approached by correcting injuries or tensions in the neuromuscular skeletal system. A classic example of a lesion or an injury where excess stress on the muscles causes abdominal or cartilages of the spine, which in turn exerts pressure on the nerves. Manipulation explained. R. McFarland, practicing osteopathic physician, explains the function of manipulation this way. Manipulation carefully prescribed and related to the particular case helps relieve acute and chronic postural and neuromuscular skeletal stress by reducing muscular tension, improving joint motion, relieving pressure or congestion around the root nerves, and finding or blocking myofascial. Modern osteopaths use manipulation therapy as an adjunct to their total practice, which might include drugs and surgery, as well as other modalities such as therapeutic ultrasounds. Klaus A. Associate Professor of Osteopathic Medicine, Kirksville College of Osteopathic Medicine, and chairperson of the Nuclear Medicine Department, told us that he practices manipulation about 90% of the time. Guys, if you're gonna be gross, I'm gonna have to block you. He said that manipulation helps maintain good normal functions before organic changes appear. Hi. He also remarked that he uses manipulative therapy to some degree to treat most infectious diseases as well as diabetes and hypothyroidism. Hey. Though it is probably safe to say that most people feel better after any type of manipulation therapy, it is just as safe to say that until the last few decades, the osteopathic profession did little to support their claims about osteopathic lesions and manipulative therapy with firm scientific facts. And this was one of the primary reasons that osteopathic physicians lingered on the periphery of the medical field, and probably the primary reason why people confused them with chiropractors. With good reason. Osteopaths believed that they could diagnose by feeling along the spine for lesions, that they could use the lymphatic pump, a kind of rhythmic pressure they could to drain sinuses and ease the painful effects of asthma by appropriate pressure on the vertebrae. Hello. But they didn't have statistical evidence of an effective thing called an osteopathic lesion, or manipulative therapy was effective by providing The evidence was a long time coming. In 1941, Dr. J.S. Denslow of Kirksville College of Osteopathic Medicine used the electromyography, the insertion of a needle or electrode into the muscle, showed that there existed increased electrical activity in the lesioned area. It remained for Irving M. Core, Ph.D., distinguished professor of physiology, to put the osteopathic case beyond scientific doubt with further research. Professor Core has provided the explanatory details of what osteopathic physicians have known intuitively all along, that there is such a thing as an osteopathic lesion, and that manipulative therapy can work a favorable response in that critical area. Dr. convert to osteopathic therapy, and a determined-based disciple told us there is now a convincing neurophysiological basis for the practice of osteopathy. Infections helped by manipulation. Though many people may think of manipulation therapy only in relation to lower back pain or neck aches, the practice runs far deeper. Ira C. Rooney, D.O. professor in the Department of Osteopathic Manipulation Medicine in Kirksville College, told us that manipulation is far more than mechanical exercise. It does help, in fact, any type of infection. Earlier, he had written in Osteopathic Annals, though many antibiotics and other drugs are now available, skillfully applied manipulation therapy by the physician who knows the human anatomy, particularly muscle attachments, fascial layers, sympathetic nervous system, and lymphatic drainage, will improve the patient's chances of recovery from any infection. The basic goal of such therapy is to assist the body in moving body fluids. According to Dr. Rumi, when an osteopath treats a patient with an infectious disease, is to get the lymphatic moving through the lymph nodes. Lymph, a transparent, slightly yellow liquid, carries those substances, antigens, which help the body form antibodies. When an antigen passes through the lymph nodes, development of antibodies is substantially increased. In Dr. Rumi's opinion, the number of antibodies in the lymph can be infused by 4 to 7 times by passing them through the nodes. What this means to a patient suffering from a cold or sore throat is that these ailments can be effectively treated with manipulation therapy. Likewise, this is a revelation that contains the seeds of what it is to get their own health back to shape. Hello. He's healed me from many injuries through manipulation. Thymus, what kind of doctor? Somebody said, I've got to go to the dentist next week and I'm scared. I've never been to the dentist. Don't be scared. Just my thing is, if they tell you have a lot of cavities, just get a second opinion. Don't do it right away. My sister went to some dentist and they told her she had like 20 cavities. She waited and she got a second opinion because I think they wanted like thousands of dollars to treat these cavities, and they're like, no, you have no cavities. So you never know, and sometimes x-rays look different. So just always get a second opinion. Dr. Rooney explains further. In treatment of upper respiratory infections, one begins stretching the muscles and the fascia, fibrous membranes, around the shoulder girdle, and those of the thoracic cage, outlet, and then stretches the muscles and fascia of the neck, head, and face. After the fascia and the muscles have been stretched, any point of restricted motion between the related components of the musculoskeletal system needs to be mobilized, freed, or relaxed. This is followed by the use of the lymphatic pump, a treatment designed to encourage the movement of the body fluids. According to Dr. Rumi, there is nothing exotic about this type of treatment. He remarked that it has been traditionally understood that infections such as cold, sore throat, colitis, and pneumonia are associated with slow lymphatic and venous drainage. In order to fully understand these aspects of manipulation, we visited Dr. Schneider, who demonstrated lymphatic and other osteopathic techniques. Hello. I'm still drinking coffee. Somebody said your hair needs combing. I know, I showered and I didn't comb it yet. I should definitely comb it once it dries fully. Dr. Schneider suggests that it was sound manipulation practice to put the first patient on his stomach. Then the doctor standing to the side of the table could, at right angles to the patient's body, provide sufficient arm pressure to both relax the patient and to snap back any vertebrate that could be out of place. Aside from the obvious psychological benefits of such procedure, there is something basically therapeutic about the laying on of the hands. Assuming the patient had some form of viral or bacterial infection, the doctor, after positioning the patient on his back, would move to the head of the table to work the lymphatic pump. Actually, this is a very simple maneuver. The doctor's hands are spread over the upper chest. The heels of the hands are the collarbone. The pressure is applied with exertion and relaxation with inhalation at approximately 18 cycles a minute. The action is continued for approximately 10 minutes. Apparently, this was a very popular and effective type of manipulation for a variety of infections, and was one of the osteopathic physician's few researches up to the time of the massive invasion of antibiotics onto the patient treatment scene. It was, in Dr. Schneider's words, one of the few reliable weapons which a doctor had to fight viral infections, and he can remember spending long hours at the lymphatic pump. No less important, manipulative therapy brings about a feeling of well-being. Experienced manipulative therapy at the hands of Dr. Schneider, including lumbar, pelvic, and dorsal pressures, which helped snap 2 vertebrates in place. I felt better and more alive than the rest of the day. While there exists solid clinical and laboratory evidence that manipulative therapy can be used to treat infectious diseases as well as musculoskeletal problems, it is seldom. Dr. Schneider concedes that a patient can ask for this type of treatment, and indications are that the average osteopathic physician himself doesn't remind his patients that there are non-chemical ways to treat most medical complaints. To discover how the principles of osteopathy are utilized by practicing DOs, we spoke to several in the field. Marvin H. Sloat, DO, Bloomfield, New Jersey, explained that he runs a total physical for new patients. This includes blood and hair analysis and diet analysis by computer. According to Dr. Sloat, the diet analysis is mainly used to point out the amount of sugar consumed. He acknowledges providing specific nutritional treatment for diabetes, headaches, hypertension, and employed manipulation and acupuncture as parts of his practice. Oh boy, I have no idea, but he seems interesting. I'm just itching the bug bites on my legs right now. One practice, I'm hoping that, I'm seeing if any of my, I'm trying to see if my grandfather is mentioned in here. That would be so cool. This is so much. Oh, this is for brain. Wow. Okay, so oxygen therapy is next. This is interesting, no? What's up, Ukraine? A more typical example of osteopathic practice geared to the needs of the family is in McKean, Pennsylvania Medical Group, headed by William L. Bowman, D.O. Dr. Bowman seems in the mainstream of osteopathic medicine. He told us that he and his associates practice manipulative therapy about 1/3 of the time, but also admits that occasionally the press of the time compels him to rely on drugs. What is this? 500 stars. Can you send star? How do I send stars on here? What's up, Ukraine? Oh boy, this is bad. So I just saw a notification on my phone that it said China says that there's a new virus that's 100 times more deadly than the coronavirus that they just found. I just can't anymore. It just makes me want to cry. Like, I just read that right now on my phone. I'm like, well, thank God I didn't go to the beach today. Oh boy. This means, first of all, when a patient comes into the office, I bring environment in as well as body. Fundamentally, as this might sound, Dr. Bowman asserts that we must tailor our treatment to a patient's needs. We must know when he sleeps, when he eats, where he works. Only then can treatment and prescribe. Oh, that's awesome, Gary. Have you ever who here has gotten manipulated on by a DO? I really do feel like it works, and I want to find my parents a DO. I'm reading a natural healing book. One particular theme seems to be emphasized by most of those engaged in teaching, practice, and scientific investigation of osteopathy, holistic medicine. This means, according to Professor Roedweller, that we all must treat the man whole, with all the connotations that can be applied. We must study the man, his family, his job, his environment, his nutrition, and yes, his structure to determine why he reacts the way he does. I feel like health in general is such... you really don't know. You know, there's so many things that when you go to the doctor, they just don't know. And I learned this from the hours I spent with my dog, where they're amazing doctors, but you really don't know. It's like, unless you really kind of examine all of the things, then you can kind of get a better idea of it. And that's why I wanted to be a DO, because I felt like they just had more of a hand on healthcare. I don't know. I almost drank this vinegar, like the vinegar I had on the desk. I went to I looked at it like, oh, I'm thirsty, I want some water, and then I realized, I was like, nope. Wow. There is a deep hope in osteopathic circles in America that we are entering a new age of total or holistic medicine. As Professor Kaur told us, orthodox medicine is still caught up in the pasture concept. Find the bug and manufacture a bullet to kill it. Although there are only about 15,000 practicing osteopaths in this country, which makes them outnumbered by MDs 20 to 1. I think it's a lot more now. This is an old book. Oh, what happened? This Wi-Fi is so bad, guys. I might just end the stream and start it up back in the house. What do you think? What do you think, guys? Or we can make lunch together. We can do that. I don't know. I kind of want to finish this, though. Okay. Their unique training in manipulative therapy means that in many cases they can help the body heal itself by using their hands, rather than immediately turning to painkillers, muscle relaxants, or even surgery. Their background may even make more qualified to success than some new drugless techniques, such as scientific relaxation therapy and acupuncture, than the average MD. At the same time, the osteopath training, which other practitioners of natural healing techniques may lack. Sorry guys, my internet is just really bad out here. I'm enjoying sitting in my backyard. I kind of wanted to go, so I came into the backyard, but it's really not working. All right, Steven, I'm sorry. After all your comments, you're going to get blocked. You're really annoying me. Sorry. Okay. I thought I just blocked him. Maybe I blocked. I might have blocked somebody else by mistake. So I'm sorry. Yeah, it turns out. Okay. Their background of new drugless techniques such as scientific relaxation therapies and acupuncture than the average MD. At the same time, the osteopath has a first-rate medical training which other practitioners of natural healing techniques. But the dangers are just as real as the promise. Recent reports indicate that osteopathic physicians are using slightly more drugs than their medical brethren. Osteopathic physicians are not supermen. You should become a kindergarten worker. Thank you. Thank you very much. My biology degree and years of acting training. I think, there's a poetry therapy. Do you want to read about poetry therapy? A young Marine who came back from Vietnam, dying of osteomyelitis of the spine, presented a do you guys see me? Hello. Should we go inside? Should we give up this tanning stream? I think I should just give up. Oh boy. In London, doctors were grouping for some treatment to help this 53-year-old man who had been suffering since age 8 when he had undergone radical mastectomy. Following this surgery, he had a chronic ear discharge, which proved resistance to all therapy, including surgery. Primarily, because there seemed to be nothing to lose, doctors put this patient in a hyperbolic chamber with 100% oxygen at his ear discharged time in 45 years. Oh boy. The wind. Hello. Just hand. Okay. "15 or 20 years ago, most doctors would have laughed at dramatic successes achieved with nothing but concentrated and pressurized oxygen. Did more than laugh. Some of the pioneers in the field of the hyperbolic oxygen were subject to several criticisms and scorned by their colleagues, and at least one journal on hyperbolic oxygen submitted to a medical journal was rejected as absurd. Today, hyperbolic oxygen should be still probably regarded as the late and experimental stage, but it's undeniable that thousands of people with a variety of problems have been saved from death and the jaundices of OHP. It's considerable the most definitive therapy for carbon monoxide, most effective treatment for several deep-seated infections such as gangrene, which may develop in a limb with a bad circulation, and also an extremely and often surprising in improving the mentally and behavior of people suffering from senility caused to the brain." Hello, welcome. Anyway, but hyperbaric, the word that means high pressure, oxygenation, is not used without its dangers. In amounts not very much greater than those used therapeutically, excess amounts of oxygen becomes toxic to certain enzymes, systems, and can damage eyes, lungs, and even the central nervous system. Used with both in selection to patients to be treated and in moderating the heart, blood, and nerves before and after, and preferably during the treatment. Today, as more hospitals install OHP units, oxygen therapy units, doctors are becoming more familiar with the therapy, and experimented practitioners should be able to reduce the risks to a very minimal level. Hello. OHP did not become medically respectable until 1970. It is no great testimony to the imagination of the medical professional that OHP is just now beginning to come into its own. Pressurized oxygen was first used medically in England 3 centuries ago. Sorry, there's a wasp on me. To treat cessation workers who developed the bends when they came out of the water after working in chambers pressurized with ordinary air. The pressurized pure oxygen dissolved the nitrous bubbles which had formed in their blood and gradually restored their body chemistry to normal. Today, the same treatment is still used for diving illnesses and also for carbon dioxide and monoxide poisoning. Perhaps it is a bit more difficult to understand how pure pressurized oxygen can be of help in conditions where there isn't such an obvious and immediate need to force oxygen into the system. It may help to realize that oxygen is a vitally needed nutrition, just like protein or vitamin C or calcium. But while weeks or months can go by until a deficiency of protein or vitamins can produce a life-threatening situation, oxygen deficiency symptoms develop in seconds. Irreversible brain damage and death follow in minutes. Wow, this is crazy. Every living cell in the body requires oxygen as its base. When oxygen starvation is localized, as it is, for example, an artery cyclosis of the legs, or frostbite, the cells in those areas grow weak and unable to perform normally, just as a motor or engine does when it is deprived of its required amount of gasoline or electricity. Defenses against disease are vastly lowered. The reparative process becomes paralyzed. Many cells may actually die. The result may be progressive gangrene, necessitated an amputation of a limb. I know we're having a heat wave, which I talked about because I thought it was going to be over. I thought the summer was ending, and then it was very hot today. I really wanted to go to the beach. So I'm just reading about different things. Guys, what time is it? This is a very interesting book. George as well. Maybe I will go inside and continue the stream later. I have bug bites all over my body now from being in this backyard. It's really nice out though. Poor George is in the house. He was like, I am not sitting out here. He dug a huge hole. I have to wash him off. All right, guys. I read this book. It's a natural healing book. But yeah, I think I'm going to go inside. All right. Bye, guys. My Wi-Fi is just too bad out here, and maybe we'll do something later. I'll talk to you later. Bye.